to see a few people joining in here for a late day Q&A. As always, open live forum here on this Q&A, so please fire away your questions. I got my eye on that question panel. Give people a second piling in here. Hopefully have a few of you coming with some questions for me here. Let me know what you're thinking, concerns, something you want demonstrated. And let me know my screen looks okay, the mic sounds okay. Screen is a little blurry. All right, let's see here. I've got you in full high def. Take a look at my display settings here. Well, that's not going to help for sure. All right, in the meantime, while we play around with this a little bit, fire away some questions here. I think maybe that made it a little less blurry for you all. All right, I think that maybe looks a little better. Let me just do some adjusting here. We don't need Holly so big. Shrink that up a little. There we go. I think that does look a little better. All right, so yeah, perfect. All right, that does look a lot better. So fire away here, folks. Let me know, got any questions here. Like I said, open forum. I don't really come with any content. As I have been doing, I'll make it up as I go along, but this goes a lot better, a lot smoother. We learn and grow together, you asking questions, me answering those questions. So, in the meantime, while I wait for you to pour in all those questions, not much to count recount on Holly here. We'll take a look at two alerts that she had. A little better zoom in here on the daily. And so we had SIOX, gene therapy, just shy of 1.7 mil shares traded at this point. Let's bring over the drawing tool a little closer to what we're doing here so we can see that right there. 1.7 mil shares traded today, just shy of it anyways, and 3 on the relative volume, hair over. Relative volume, for those that don't know, takes an average of 10 days, weighted heavier at the open and close. All right, and it's done as a ratio, so that means we're doing just over 3 times what it normally does over a 10-day period right now. She gave us a gap up here. We tested that gap. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little wick that's right here coming down. We started to test that gap to fill. It held. She took that alert here, shot right up. And on a 15-minute chart, I know it looks like a little less time to have taken that profit, but here on a 5-minute chart, you can see we had 5, 10, 15, and somewhere here on the 15 minutes, after 15 minutes, we need to get out. We were to make a profit save, which is exactly what she did. Due to the stop loss being kind of tight, so 228 entry and a 221 stop, share sizing for $100 loss possible here, we would have taken a pretty big share, a lot of 1,400 shares. So Not a bad alert, and kind of coincides with where we see we'd had some recent resistance. My lines aren't always the best. I do apologize for that, but there we go. That's a little better. I had that wick there. I wouldn't be counting on that. Probably a lot of people looking at that 250 level, and nobody wanted to stick around for it. Everybody was chicken to make it up to that. So 240 it was, 240 and a half ish, and in and out. So again, open form here. Our viewer numbers look kind of low. Let's see. Dan and YCC. Hi, Chris. You show me how to alert when stock breaks previous day high. Is there a way to alert this intraday? For example, when 60-minute candle prints a higher high compared to the previous 60 minutes. We can't really compare candles in that sense, but let's take a look at what we got here, how we might be able to work around some of that. We want to configure, search, and let's just put a 60 in there and see what we're getting. So we got a 60-minute high as an alert, okay? And if we want to know the definition of that, we click help. That's going to give us this. Take a second to load. And all these alerts work like this here. So these report when stock makes a new intraday high or low. These alerts defined in terms of standard candlestick chart. All right. So this very well may be what you're looking for here. You can give that a shot on that 60-minute high. We can also look at, let's see here. We've got a 60-minute range. All right. We have a change in 60 minutes also. So you got those three options to work with. They count time though, not candles. So you'll have to work within the parameters of that. Let me know if that's something that can work for you there. That should those are really the options that we have. I'm trying to think if there's maybe another workaround, but that's really going to be it right there. And then of course you have all these different other 60-minute alerts here that you can find. So, and again, fire away the questions. Anybody has questions, please. It helps me keep it interesting and keep it moving. And I say we learn and grow together. So just take a quick look here. Like that. Yep, you're welcome. And let's look at XENE. That was the second holiday alert. Fared a little bit better here. Another gap and go. Strong gap and go. And we can see it wanted to test the bottom of the wick that was here, which happens to coincide with where our stop was today on that. Share sizing for that is a much, much, much wider stop. Would have left us with a very small share size of 56 shares. However, in a moderate profit right now, we're still up over $100. If we could have got that fill at 27.01 right there. And if we take a look, we're off the highs of all this here. So on her conservative, she did exit pretty early on this candle here, looking for that profit save. Wasn't going to let a winner turn to a loser. However, we could have exited some of those shares on this candle here. Hung around. We never really got to that stop loss, and then had a nice pull up, a range. Broke that range for half a second here, or well, a little more than half a second. You got 15-minute candles, but all the same, before it started to pull back. So after that initial pullback on the entry rate here, she stayed in the money the rest of the day on this risk on trade here, or moderate profit as we'll call it. So while there wasn't a lot of alerts from Holly today, both of them gave you definitely an opportunity to take some cookies off that table and add to that account. So again, we're doing trade ideas here, live Q&A. I do prefer if anybody comes, they have some questions, they'd like something demonstrated. I think it makes everything a little smoother, a little more interesting than me droning on about some of the stuff that I'm looking at. But I am happy to make up the content as we go along, as dead airspace isn't good for anybody. So last week on Friday, I shared that I had traded a few things. ERJ was one of them. I took half that share lot home with me, and I wasn't going to stick around today on it. The market is, it's wobbly both ways. And while we're not far off all time highs, that doesn't mean I'm going to stick around and be foolish. I'm neither a bear nor a bull. I want to make money. Um, I have no bias one way or the other. I'm just going to do what the charts say and what my trading plan says. So try to stick around today on this alert here, or on this stock here. But as we started to fade a little bit, I decided, you know what? I won't be sticking around and I'm going to exit it. And while a lot of times my stop is actually a rising 8 EMA, especially on something like this, I decided I just wasn't going to hang around for it today. And I'm feeling good about that decision today. Tomorrow, who knows? Maybe we gap up to 1850. But that's not what I'm banking on. And I wasn't letting the profit that I had get away from me. So stuck to my plan and I closed that trade out. So that was something that I had shared on Friday that I had done. Also on Friday, I traded MYG. Anybody that's followed along with me on any of these, I'm sorry, MGY. I don't know what tickers I'm looking at anymore. It knows that I've been very, very bullish oil and gas, especially since last winter, in February-ish, give or take. I started getting really bullish on those after having really trounced on energy for a couple of years. The charts changed, so my opinion changed. I wouldn't even say it's really my opinion. I just, believe in what the charts are telling me. So I traded this last week, got in somewhere around here, and I got out somewhere around there early on Friday. Looked like I had made the right decisions. It came down here, and then it ended up being the wrong decision. But, stuck to my plan, and it was what it was. Today it gapped up. I saw some strength in it again today. Natural gas, obviously very bullish still, everything about it. And this stock is making all-time highs. So I thought I would join back in again. I got it right here. You can see 1891. It's kind of just been hovering around here all day. So, just up a few pennies on it. Got to make a decision if I want to take this risk home overnight. I don't have a big lot, so it's going to be one way or the other. I'm going to close it or leave it open for the night. We'll see what happens in the next little bit here with the close. I'm going to kind of let that determine what I'm doing. My original plan on the day was leaving my stop at the low of the day here on that tail. So if I do take it home, that's where I'll leave that stop. Move it accordingly as the days go on. So that's kind of what I'm doing. That's my plan. That was something that was decided before I got into that trade. I'll just kind of see how things are coinciding here with what's been going on in the SPY. And, looking on 15-minute chart, you had a red bar ignore and a big release after that red bar ignore. We've been trying to base now here, but been under pressure all day. And something else I like to look at here, a anchor VWAP on 2 days. So this is the current day, so 1 day, 2 days. And short-term momentum says that SPY is under a lot of pressure as it can't come anywhere near holding this 2-day VWAP for weeks now, actually. One other thing that I've been looking at too, not just the SPY, but we want to look at it equally weighted and how that's working out for things. This one right here, RSP, yes, equal weight ETF. All right, and now if we look at this chart and how that anchored VWAP is playing out, even more significance here. So we're in this current day, 1 day, 2 days, and we can look at this, and the anchor VWAP of 2 days on a 15-minute chart has just been in control all day long, trying to break it again here. We tried to break it here, and it's just been rejecting it the rest of the day along here. So these are the ways that I do, my trading. This is how I'm looking at the market, what I'm looking at, how I'm looking at it, why I'm looking at it, so on and so forth. So again, this goes a lot better if you all are asking questions. A small crowd again today. Hopefully that picks up in the next few weeks, makes things a little more interesting. Sometimes you have a question, you don't even know it, and someone else asks it. So let's take a look here. Sorry, just looking at a few things internally here that are going on. Always trying to follow some tickets, see what kind of troubleshooting I can do to help out. You don't get me from one side of things, you get me from the next side of things. So, and again, for anybody that's popping in and out and joining, wonder what we're doing, Chris Varley. I work for Trade Ideas. We're a scanner for the U.S. markets, Canadian scanning as well, but no Canadian charts. I do live Q&A, try to keep the content as interesting, moving, and fresh as I can. However, I do like to have the questions come in from you guys. So, and it would seem that Facebook is a really big deal today. I suppose we should really take a look at that, huh? So, for those of you that live under a rock, kind of like myself, and don't get too much into news, apparently Facebook has been hacked pretty hard right now. And you cannot access Facebook. And it is looking like 1.5 billion people who are on Facebook's information is for sale on the internet right now, including names, addresses, phone numbers, gender. So, it's kind of a bummer for anybody, involved in any of that stuff. Never fun. Never like to see anybody do anything like that. Whether you agree or disagree with Facebook, we all know someone on there, and I hate to see anybody have their information leaked and hurt. So, aside from that, we'll just pay attention to what the charts are telling us. And right now, the chart says Facebook is under a lot of pressure, weighing heavily on all the indexes, I'm sure. And we can kind of see the same thing that we were looking at in the SPY, trying to base out around here. And let's take a look back and zoom on this chart and see what's going on here. So, got this V recovery there from COVID, obviously. And then who knows why Facebook did that? Probably big revenues or something like that. And Facebook was range bound for quite a while through there, going from, say, September of last year into March of this year before it started taking its big leg up. So, regardless of anything else, it's not like Facebook couldn't use a pullback looking at all that right there. I will say that this pullback could certainly have room to run. We'll zoom back in here. All right, breaking all sorts of levels here. I like this position in 20-day or low position in 20-day indicator. I use it pretty heavily in a lot of what I do. And so we can see, these kind of fine steps up for a long time. We're just smashing right through a few different levels on those 20-day periods here. So, it wouldn't surprise me to see Facebook have a date and shake hands with 300 here in the next day or two, depending on how bad that news is. But it's one of those stocks, regardless of the fact that it's 2.3 billion in the float. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this thing when it really starts to rip. All your big fund managers and whatever else, they're not always very creative in what they're doing. And a lot of the same people, a lot of the same big financial personalities are all piled into the exact same things: Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, all that stuff like that. You watch whatever news outlets you like for finance, and that's mainly what they're talking about. They're not talking about the things that we're finding, stuff like this in here. So you just don't want to be on the wrong side of it. However, definitely under pressure. Wouldn't be surprised to see it shake hands with 300 tomorrow. A lot of internal discussion that's going on here, as I guess there's more and more breaking news that's on it. So have to catch up on that news later and see what that all has to say. And again, I see, a few more people piling in here. If you're wondering what we're doing, doing a live Q&A for Trade Ideas. We're a stock scanning platform for U.S. markets. We do scan Canadian markets as well. We do not have charts for Canadian markets. However, you can indirectly or externally link to any broker and have that broker's charts load when you click on a link within with a symbol or an alert within our program. So again, if anybody has questions, they'd like something demonstrated, they have any kind of questions regarding anything, let me know. Take a quick peel around here on Barry's option scanner. See what was doing there today. I didn't have much focus on going on any of that. Some more internal chatter here. Anybody that's been following along knows that this automation list is something that's being tested live, buying just one share at a time, doing that with E-Trade. So just incoming data from what this did today with 10 minutes to go. So always interesting to see. I've been very, very bullish on nat gas and oil. I'm becoming bullish on banks. That's where some of my evening scanning has been pointing to a lot lately, and so that's kind of what this is all. This is pointed at specific symbols, and they have to do certain things to be able to trade in that. So interesting stuff coming through. Managing automation with a selected list only to look at. So if people have questions about that, please chime in. Go back to looking at Berry Scanner here, what that did today. So ENG, and I apologize. This ENG alert is actually from last week. I had loaded the scanner at 5 o'clock this morning Eastern time, so it populated data from last week. So that was not actually from today. Forgive me, it's been a long day. TGP, that was the first alert that came through this, and lo and behold, marine cargo, another area that I am pretty bullish on. Although we'll see how all this global uh, global shipping crisis or whatever you want to call it that's going on affects prices of shipping, obviously going up, but how that affects the prices of the actual stocks of the companies. But it was a gap and go today. Alert came in 1694. And just a little bit of alpha that was on there, but never really gave up that alert. Kind of moving on it all day long. So might be something interesting to watch for tomorrow. 39 times, 39 and a half times its relative volume here over a 10-day period. I think that's a pretty big deal. 10 million shares traded on the day. So again, might be something to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Options volume obviously is pretty off the handle on that one. Doing 4.5 times its normal options volume that's there. And again, I see a question coming in, so please keep those questions. And alert windows, is there a way to limit the alerts so that multiple alerts don't keep showing up for the same stop? Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. So if we right click, and don't do this with a window that you want to keep the data in. Anytime you make a change on an alert window during the day, you'll lose everything, and it'll be like starting the window from scratch completely again. So if we right click and we come to properties, we can look at don't repeat here, and then we can put the check mark in the don't repeat for, and we can select from all these different timetables that are right here. All right, so you can do it an hour, a day, 30 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, so on and so forth. Let me know if that works out there for you, Dan, if that's what you were looking for. I do believe that's what you were trying to find. It's a good way to cut down noise. And that's why you'll see any of my alert windows that I have will only have one alert for each stock, because if it's something that really interests me that I might possibly trade on the day, I'm probably going to set a price alert and track the price alert from there. So coming down to 0 hour here, I'm going to hold MGY overnight. So unless that thing somehow makes a pop up into the 1920s in the next 5+ minutes. Excellent. Glad that got you sorted there, Dan. So again, please, keep questions coming. Come back to Berry Scanner, ESI. Nothing special on that alert. A lot of noise, almost maybe called a double top back there, coming down. So nothing too special there. 1.69 there, middle shares traded, doing 2 times its volume. So it's not quite as active as far as its regular volume that goes here, although it's very active, as we can see here on the options volume. Clicking through BTU, coal, big deal for coal today again. And if we were to look here on my liked list, something that I put on there, I think I put it on this morning, another coal company. All right. So, and this thing held all day long. We can see its change from open is 224, change from close is 339. So, I mean, this thing gapped up, came back to attempt to test it, off to the races, faded with probably the most of the indexes, and moving very alpha on its own at this point here on the close. So not something I'll be chasing tomorrow. Like I said, I made my pick today. I picked a MGY. That's what I traded. That's what I'm sticking with. That's how it's going to go for me, but doesn't mean I'm not watching other plays. Energy continues to be super bullish. NOG, AR, every one of these here, everyone that I'm putting a mark next to oil and gas, oil and gas, mineral oil and gas, oil and gas. This might be shipping here, SM. IMAX obviously is entertainment, but I mean, and to look at where every one of those is right now. And if we were to cut that out, like I said, this is a list that I've created that I'm watching of stocks. Come back to the other side of this, and you're going to find things that were high flyers last week getting smacked up. So AMTX was a high flyer last week, GoGo high flyer last week. We'll see what all this means here. We discussed, what's going to happen with shipping and prices. So we can see some shippers are up. GSL's a shipper is down. NMM, that's a shipper that's down. Okay, so again, we'll see AZUL, that is air transport and shipping, also passenger flights too. So again, we'll see how that plays out. That sometimes moves in tandem with ERJ. So these are all things that I like to keep an eye on, how I'm using the software and how you can use the software. Narrow things down, narrow your data set down. Sometimes having 10 scans, you could have 10 of the best scanners in the world, but too much data coming in at once, it's overload for you. So sorry, I see question coming in. Sorry, can you repeat that about multiple alerts? Trying to do it. Yeah, so if you want to slow down an alert window so you're not seeing the same ticker coming in nonstop while it continues to make a new high or whatever happens to be the alert catalyst or the alert event, I'm going to right click the scanner. We'll come to properties, look for don't repeat. All right. And then we can come in here, make sure there's a check mark in the don't repeat box so we know we're using that function. And then you can select from the different times that we have on the drop down menu there. So let me know if that took care of that. And energy is just going off the hook right here at the end here, I can see. So, and people ask me, well, why are you bullish on energy? Where are you getting this from? Well, I'm getting it from my scans. All right. So come to load from cloud. My evening scan is a scan that I go over constantly, and there's nothing magic about it. But looking at ranges, breaking ranges, I like 20-day ranges. All right, that's what this scan searches for. Is one of the things. This scan for weeks has been filled and filled and filled with energy, specifically oil and gas. There's been some coal in there. There's been some shippers in here, and now I'm starting to see a lot of regional banks in there. Today, the banks weren't quite as high flyers as I thought they might have been. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to discount what they've been doing. So, I start to get I start to get familiar enough with a lot of these symbols. I can tell you what a lot of them are. I know this is semiconductors, and I do believe this is the bear side of semiconductors. Yeah, correct. So 3x bear. All right. And again, we're looking at more coal that's here. All right. And that's also on my list. We can see HCC again, oil, minerals, oil here. All right. For some reason, IMAX continues strong. I guess people are going back to the movies. I'm not really sure why that is, but we can see here on the daily chart that it has been off to the races and just happens to be something that Holly bought. All right. And up almost $3 since Holly had bought it that day. All right. Now, while Holly exited that day, you certainly didn't have to. So, again, a lot of data coming in here and a lot to do with that data. What are you doing with it? Always the question to ask yourself. That's a question I ask myself constantly. And back to it, oil. All right. I'm going to bet this is oil. And again, oil, natural gas, pipeline transportation. All right. Oil. This is media. So we got something with the media. So there's some media stock, and IMAX is another media stock. What every one of these have in common is that they are 75% above the low of their 20-day range, and they're closing 75% above the low of today's range. Every one of them has also done 750,000 shares at least today. So, that's what I'm looking at right now. I have no reason to think that oil and energy is going to do anything but what it's continued to do. That doesn't mean it does up every day, but it's certainly up. It's certainly strong. I would love to see it take a pause, maybe in the next day or two, and we'll see what happens. And as the market closes, take one last look back here. MGY almost made it up to where I was ready to sell it, but the way that closed today, I don't see any reason to be getting out of it right now. Might stick an order in here after hours at maybe, let's say, 1950 and see if I can get a fill way up there. Why not? For anybody that would like that scan, that is a Trade Ideas subscriber, I'll share it again. I suspect that the people that are in here already have it, but and you could take it and make it your own. Do what you want with it. Let's see, we copied. We're going to paste. And again, please, it's an open forum here. You make my job easier when you ask questions. For some people, some of the stuff might be boring or not interesting. These are things I could talk about all day long. So again, take a pause here. If someone has some questions, please fire them away for me. All right. I'm gonna put myself on mute for just one moment here. Please, any questions, fire them away. If you have questions about that scan, my liked list, Barry's scan, some other scan you've seen somewhere. All right, HPP, I see you. How do I add my own unique channel and add it to channel bar? And how do I say the changes to make to different channels? Okay, so two parts of that question. So the first part will go with the channel there. If you head to new, I'm going to bring it up to display this in just a second. Just clicking around a few things here to clean up so I can bring over and share with you. But head to new and head to channel bar, okay? Sorry about the delay here. It's an internal thing. I want to make sure that I'm doing this right here with another troubleshooting I'm doing currently too. All right, so get that layup that you want to have there, HPP, and you're going to save that layout to the cloud. All right, so this is the first part that we're going to want to do. We've got the menu bar here. Let's say you have the layout that you want to become your channel. All right, file, save or share to cloud. All right, you're going to click entire layout. You're going to name it whatever you want it to be here. All right, and you're going to click save. All right, and that's the first part of it. Let me know when you're with me. I see your question, John. John, I'll circle back to that in just a second with the evening scan here. Yeah, and I get where you're going with that HPP. Yep. All right, you're with me. Okay, so now you save that. All right. Now I don't have a channel bar up, but what I'm going to do is come to new because I need a channel bar to do this with you. I'm going to go channel bar. All right. And you got this little gear icon that's up here, right? And we're going to click that and we're going to go to edit custom channels. All right. And here you can go add channel. All right. You can give it whatever you want to give it. All right. And then you're going to come to select from cloud. All right. And you're going to pick that layout you just saved. All right. And that's going to become one of your custom channels. I believe you got 4 custom channels. Okay. Let me know if you're with me on all of that. And that's just the one way to add channels yourself. All right. And then again, for you, John, let me load that. Evening scan here. So we'll load from cloud, search my evening scan one, and load it. There it is. And so if we right click, John, we come to configure. All right. And we come to summary. All right. This is what it's doing here. I'm looking at stocks between $4 and $30. They have a relative volume of at least one. They've traded 750,000 shares today. They're 75% above the low of today's range, and they're 75% above the low of the 20-day range. The last part here is it's sort by change from closed dollars, which it doesn't really matter. I prefer change from closed percent, but it's not going to affect anything that I'm doing with this scan. So I just never made that change. Just a personal preference on how I sort the data that's coming in. Doesn't really bear much of any effect on any of this. So, but that's what it does. And so with this scan, a lot of times I'm finding a lot of horseshoe or horseshoe pattern up or cup and handle patterns. And that's kind of what I'm looking for with that. So, all right, HPP. Now, if you've got that, let me know if that all made sense to you for adding your own channel. And then I'll go over what you have to do if you want to save edits that you made to a channel. You can't really save an edit to the channel. Not really. You cannot edit the channels themselves. We hold these server side. They're held on our servers, these layouts within here. But what you can do is edit the channel, all right, the way you want it, and then save it to your cloud and just rename it, Buzz Sediment edited for me, uh, account builder edited for me, or however you want to call that. My pleasure, John. And if you got any other questions with that, let me know. So let's get rid of that channel bar. I don't think I need that anymore for you. And I'll bring the evening scanner back over in a minute, but I see a few questions coming in, which makes this a little nicer for me. So a couple more. Is there a way to stop securities that have recently begun trading from showing up in an alert window? Also, is there a good way to stop meme stocks from showing up in an alert window? All right, HPP, let me know if you need a little more help with that. We can always go back and demonstrate that again. I'll let you play with it for a second, though. We can circle back to anything, of course, too. And again, John, if you had any other questions with the evening scan, let me know. So I'm going to jump to Dan here. So what we can do, a few different things that we can do here. If we right click, we come to configure, we can come to symbols list. And we're doing a lot of work on this right now. Chris McKay that I work with, he's a behind the scenes guy that I work with that's just, work with some of the greatest people I could ever ask for. And he has really made it a mission of his to update the warrants list and get these things populating and updating on their own. So what we can do here is we can come to add existing list within the symbols list. All right. And we can scroll through this whole thing and we can find all these different things. So we have the Wall Street bet stocks. All right. I update this actually every single morning. Okay. Based on some different data scrubs that we do. And I could say, follow only these lists, or I can say exclude these lists. And so by putting check marks in any of these things here, that would allow me to either include or exclude certain stocks, basically. You can create your own list too. So we could always come to, let's get rid of that configure. We could always come to tools, symbols list, and you can see what I have for my own symbols list here right now. And we could say create new list. All right. And we name the list stocks I don't want to see. All right. And then we can start, we've got it right here. It's an empty list, and we can start adding stocks to this. And when we're done, just press OK. All right. And it'll have it there. And then I always recommend, if you ever edit your symbols list, click the refresh from server to make sure that that refreshes right away. All right. And you'll have to wait for us to ping back and forth on our own or on your own. Let me know if that helps at all, Dan. Adding channel worked great. For changing the layout of the existing channels, I was just trying to expand things to my full size screen. So yeah, that all I would say for you that is just make the changes you want to make in the load the channel HPP and then add them. Excuse me, make the changes within the channel that you want, and then do the same thing. File, save or share to cloud. Click entire layout, label it whatever you want to label it, and you'll just have to do it that way. Like I said, you can't edit the channels and save them in the channel bar. Excellent, excellent. This is why I'm doing this. It's a twofold for me wanting to do this live Q&A daily. One is, I know that not everybody can make the different times that we have. And so I'm hoping that, people that are, possibly trading from work, or, busier during the earlier day, they might be able to sneak in during this hour that I'm doing this now and get you guys a little more support that way. And then, while we're not technically allowed to teach trading, um, just talking about charts, talking about trading plans, talking about scanning, things like that. That's how I learned. I have no finance background whatsoever. I'm completely self-taught. Everything that I do is because I found trade ideas. Literally everything that I do trading is because I found this, and I've used the software, and for years before I came to work for them. So it all came from attending Barry's room, um, the 5 o'clock webinars, and back then there wasn't a live simulator for me to practice in or anything like that. So, there's more tools now than ever for people to succeed. Doesn't make it easy, but that's the way it goes. Mike C, thank you for the support, Mike C. Mike C, am I tired? Sure, but I really love what I do. I've had two huge passions in my life ever, and this is one of them, and the other one I won't share here out in public. So, um, I'll just say that it involved me and my friends growing up sneaking off into the woods together, doing things that maybe kids may or may not have been should be doing. Um, so, but doing this, I get energy from this, and I get energy from teaching, and believe it or not, I grow as I show you guys things. Sometimes maybe you ask me questions of things I haven't used in a long time or haven't thought about in a long time, and it brings things to be fresh again for me. So um, that's also why the way I like to share the program, and I want to share some of the pitfalls that I had. When I first started using this, I had every scanner I could think of loaded. Any scanner that Barry had, I was using. Any scanner that Jamie talked about, I was using. Any scanner that Steve talked about, I was using. Any scanner that Andy talked about, I was using. And so I had a little laptop and a Vizio TV, and I had every scanner on the planet that I could find attached to those two things, trying to figure out how to use trade ideas. And too much data. And slowly over time, I started to narrow that data down. And one of the first ways that I learned to narrow that data down was what Barry started doing with Holly a few years ago, where Barry was only following the winners from Holly from the previous day, on top of some other stuff that he was looking at. And then he started doing his watch list and how he was curating that data like that. So I started copying and following a lot of what Barry was doing. And that's when I started to really see some success in trading finally, consistently. And then that consistent success started to get a little better when I finally figured out that you can't trade without a trading plan. Um, and I came up with that trading plan by going over my trading journal and why trades worked, why they didn't work, and so on and so forth. And so, kind of figured those things out, along with coupling these other things. The 20 day period is something that became very big in my trading plan. 20 SMA and 8 EMA became big in my trading plan. So, these are things you got to put together along with the scanning. So, hopefully that's all clicking. Hopefully that's all making sense for everybody here. So, um, I see Dan. Sorry, catch back up here, Dan. Yeah, it makes sense. Is there a way for us to view which stocks are in a list without building a window from it? Um, yes. Let's see. How can we do this? Some of these things I have to be careful trying to show you because they involve account login pages, and I don't. I just Just talking about the data breach that happened with the Facebook. I don't want to be putting all my account information out there more than it already is. Um, if you can go to, gee, I wish there was a way for me to hide this. Um, do it like this first. So anybody that's interested in how to do this, if you come to our homepage here, all right, and you go to this login here and you log into your account, you're going to see the account management page, and I can blindly start to walk you through some of this. I just can't hit it because it's going to reveal my account information, unfortunately. So if you go to that account login page, though, now I'm kind of blindly following while I'm doing this here, or blindly going, but go to the account login page, all right? And on the right side, you're going to see a whole bunch of different things, 1, 2, and 3. And under 1, you'll see you'll be profile and your password, change, billing information, all that. 2 is your subscription, create, activate, cancel, so on and so forth. Change your email, upgrade, any of that stuff like that. And 3, you see account. So you'll find symbols list there. And if you click symbols list, you'll have all the shared symbols lists that are there that you can view. You cannot edit them, but you can view those. All right. And then you'll also find your symbols list, and you can manage your symbols list from there too. Let me know if that makes sense and if that helps. Yeah, that's exactly it there, Mr. Town. It was the same thing for me. And, there's a lot of things that, you have all these scanners and everything. And it's like, well, I want to try to look at all this data, but sometimes for some people, myself included, it was too many flashing lights for me at once. And while there's really quality alerts that were coming through most of those scanners, A, I didn't know how to manage any of those alerts, and B, I was like a dog, one of those dogs in the street that's chasing after every car that passes by. Um, and even if I caught the dog, even if I caught the car, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. So it just kind of is what it is with that. And like I said, there are days I don't trade at all. And there are days I take 3 or 4 trades. I prefer to swing nowadays, but it's been kind of choppy. And when the money's on the table, I'm taking it pretty early. That's just kind of the way that I'm doing things here. So, and I see the numbers have ticked up a little bit. And again, for anybody that's joining and is wondering what we're doing, I work for Trade Ideas. We're a scanning platform for the U.S. market. I do a live Q&A here every day at 3:30 Eastern. Usually do it for about an hour. If personal schedule allows me to stick around and questions are firing away, I'm happy to stick around and troubleshoot, demonstrate, educate, anything that I can do here to help learn the platform, get familiar with it. So please, anybody with questions, fire away. And I see that all worked out well for you, Dan. So there's a lot in there too. And then, I don't like to dive down the rabbit hole of custom formulas because I'm not great with them. I understand how to do some of them, but I don't understand any C programming language or anything like that whatsoever. So I don't understand how to make those if then statements and true false statements or any of that stuff like that. And so that's why I kind of stay away from those. Some of the simple stuff that you can do with customs, I'm familiar enough with. But so in that account section, that login section of the from our accounts page, that's where you can find the custom formulas too, and you can find all the codes that we have for the filters. You're not getting the raw codes, but you're getting the code for being able to use those filters and combine them in ways that you like, along with the formula instructions for editing as well. And so again, please fire away any questions. Clicking around some things. Can you share your scanners? Uh, yes and no. I can share this option one with you here, and I'll give you the reason why the no on it in just a second here. I can share it, but it won't work for you the same ways it works for me. So load from cloud. Dum, 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 dum. And some of these scanners you can get right from Barry as well too. So here, share, find that. So this is the option scanner. This is a great day trading scanner, and I found success with it this past earning season, the last earning season that we had. So I'm looking forward to the next earning seasons with it. I haven't been using it again much recently. Now, the reason I can't share this automated scan here is because it's attached to a symbol list, which you don't have. Technically, I guess you can use it. Um, huh. Can it be used? I'm trying to think if this can be used or not right now, the way I have it set up. Um, Let me do this first. For anybody that is wondering how to get all Barry scans, because he has so many scans, he doesn't always display them. He moves them around. Sometimes he's using, sometimes he's not. Let's first give you Barry's link to his homepage, and I always love to give a plug to Barry here. Done so much for me, and whether he realizes it or not, he always tells people I don't teach you how to trade, but he teaches you how to trade without teaching you how to trade. So, Barry is a really, really great guy. So this is Barry's homepage. If you go to Barry's homepage, you can find all of his scanners that are there, and he has, I mean, gap up and reverse, gap up and go, gap down and go. Um, different option scanners besides the one that I just shared there. He's got his options play magic, basic high and lows, all those things like that. Anything that Barry ever talks about, everything is on that page right there. So, you probably got about a dozen scans that pick from that are really excellent day trading scans that are in there. So stick with that. And then Aaron, on this one here, the automation list, it's not, I can't just share it because of it being attached to that list, but it's really just a simple scan in here. I haven't done anything special. It's just a new high alert. The stock has to have traded at least 300,000 shares over the last 5 days, an average of 300,000 shares the last 5 days. Volume has to be at least 75,000 shares on today. It's got to be 75% above the low of yesterday's range, excuse me. And it won't start scanning until 15 minutes after the market opens. What I can do is this. I'm going to duplicate it into a free floating window. All right. And then I am going to unlink it from the symbols list here. All right. And I'm going to put it on all symbols. Okay. So I've changed that, and it's now just the basic scan that would look at the entire stock market. All right. And I'm going to save or share this to the cloud, and I'm going to save it. There's the URL, copy, paste. That's the scanner that I'm using for that automation setup. All right. But it's just not attached to that symbols list that I'm managing. It puts a lot of pressure on me to share a symbols list like that. So, and I don't want to ever be construed as financial advice what I'm looking at. So that's what that is right there. So you have the way the scanner's set up minus the symbols list. And you can turn around and attach your own symbols list to it. So you can go through stocks and say, hey, these things interest me, and let me see what they would look like if I attached it the way that Chris is doing that right there. So, kind of have at it that way. Oh, sorry, I missed sent a few once. Is there a filter, something you keep out of newly traded securities? Oh, sorry. Yes. What you could use for getting rid of newly traded securities is use like an SMA filter. So if we go to configure, search, and we were to look for SMAs, not SAMs, SMAs, and let's go to only filters. All right, we could use something like one of these change froms here, and it'll have to have an SMA to populate. I've set it up for day trading. That's what I'm experimenting with. And again, it's not something. Um, excuse me, I didn't mute myself for a second there. It's not something that I've set up overly complicated. I've just set it up with a 4% target, a 2% stop loss, and sell on the close if it doesn't hit anything in between those, if it stays in between those. Just something I'm experimenting with symbols list and automation. So um, it's set up specifically for day trading at the moment. Um, but you can mess around and test it the way you want to test it with the symbols that you decide to populate on there. I'll tell you right now though that if you are to fire that list looking at the entire stock market, you are going to get an incredible amount of alerts because there's really not much filtering going on that list without you attaching it to a symbols list on your own. And literally what I do is this. Every day I go through my evening scan. All right. I put things that I want like on my liked list. Then I go through my liked list and I put them on this automation list here. So I'm like double filtering in a sense. So everything that's on my liked is not here on this automation list. All right. And I try to keep this list to about in between 30 and 40 stocks maximum. So it's a really, really, really narrow data set that's going on there. Um, the other thing too, Dan, is I was noticing, I was, giving a shout out to Chris McKay that I work with, doing a lot of work here on these symbols lists for us. I noticed earlier today he has under ETFs. Where did I see it? I know I saw it somewhere. No. Could have sworn I saw something that said recent IPOs somewhere in here. Making a liar of myself now. Maybe you took it away. IPO last 12 months. All right. That's what it was. All right. I thought it was a little more recent than that. So, but you can go through these, all the lists that we have here. All right. And take a look, see what you want to add or don't want to add. And of course, you can take a look, like I said, through the account management page at what's on each one of those lists as well. And then, take anything you like and put it on your own list and populate it that way too. So that's the way that goes. I think I'm caught up on questions. If anybody has a question, we're at 428. I will begin to wind things down, but if anybody has questions, I'll stick around for a couple minutes here. So let me know. I'll give you all a second before I give you the auctioneers going once, going twice sold. All right, no more questions are coming in. Like I said, I'll stick around another minute or two here. Trying to think of something else useful to share at the moment. Never hurts to jump around this ETF list really fast here. Look at a few of the tops. So again, pound the table on natural gas here. Um, you know, it's got a lot of momentum, and you can see these. So 8 EMA, 20 SMA, 50 SMA, and they're just fanned right out. It's a lot of strength that's there. Uh, you know, Consolidate, move up. That would be really lovely. My pleasure, Dan. Glad glad we get you some help and some answers in that for you there. OIH, not nearly as nice of a looking chart, but now we start to see it jump back up, trying to break a range. Always, Mike C. Thanks for popping in and padding my numbers. As the numbers look better for viewers, the algorithms on YouTube will like us more. So we use all the help that we can get. VXX, there's no technical analysis to ever be done here, and anybody that tries to do it is, well, the butt of a lot of many technical analysis jokes. But however, with that said, what I will say about the VXX is that When we first started selling off a few weeks ago, or week and a half ago, whatever it is now, the selling off seemed orderly and the VXX was not moving up on us at all. It's moved up some. It's not, anything to write home to mom about, that's for sure. But it's holding this level here. We'll see what happens if it, fear, that's your fear indicator. And again, oil and gas support. This is the chart that I'm most bullish on when it comes to oil and gas in general. And, right back at it again. And, I always mention that I'm very biased to this pattern, but, there's COVID. All right. And then, we start to make these bases here. All right. We made some more of a base. And here we go again. Big deal this level. Big, big, big deal this level right now. All right. As far as your energy stocks go, because we bust through that and we're looking here and here afterwards. All right. And, whatever England's doing and deploying their national guard to help pump gas or something ridiculous. I don't know. But all that tells me is that, the world of energy consumption is in a world of hurt and we need it. We need energy. It makes this world go round, regardless of what you believe in for, you know, keeping things green and climate change and any stuff like that. The bottom line is people need cars, people need jets, people need to ship things. And the charts are telling us that there's a lot of money to be made there still. USO, same thing. Just real healthy looking chart there. Really healthy looking chart there. And again, these kind of cup and handle patterns. And I'm like I said, I'm very, very biased to them. I see them. They may not actually be there. It's what I want to see. So obviously I'm going to see it. I understand these things. XLE, just some more energy, more energy, more energy. All right. Guess what this is? More energy. Guess what that is? More energy. All right. So this whole thing here. Um, Gold, I know it's having a day today, but gold is just trash. Silver is just trash right down the line. And I mentioned the banks, KRE, KBE. I am bullish the banks overall right now. That's what the charts are showing me. They're coming through my evening scan a lot. So that's what I'm looking at also. It doesn't mean I just see a bank and I buy it. I got to like the bank charts individually. But I know that this catalyst overall looks like that base. We're trying to break out of that base again right there. All right. So we'll see. That's the next target on the KBE. Take a look back at the KRE. Probably going to look something similar. Look at that. I didn't even have to change my drawings on that. All right. So, and of course, these are things I'm looking at every day. I'm tracking this. We come back down the other way. Let's look at our losers right now. Your clean energy, big time loser right now. All right. So the money is shifted. TAN, that's your part of your clean energy, big time loser right now. Cloud computing making a big pullback. I wonder if Facebook has anything to do with that right now. Your tech heavy stocks have been getting smacked up for a while. Your Apples, your Googles, they have not been faring well. So cloud computing, same thing. Real ugly today. Looks very similar to a SPY chart, as a matter of fact, which is very heavily tech weighted. All right. So this is where the money's flowing in and out of right now that we can see. All right. Lithium ion last week, thought it looked like it was going to make a move. We're starting off the week real weak on that. All right. And we can see the position in the year range as we're starting to move into the last quarter of the year as well, how this is all going in here. All right. And so you can see where all the green is. Green is big time into energy. All right. Green is in the banks here again. All right. Green is in your REITs, as a matter of fact, something else that I've been watching heavily. All right. Where's your red? Red's been in what your darlings had been for a while. All right. Your SMH has been giving it up. Cloud computing has been giving it up. So we'll see how we finish the fourth quarter here with all these things. But as of now, they lean to the bearish side as far as the charts are concerned. Not what my opinion is. My opinion is SMH should be really bullish. Big chip shortage. Can't get them out fast enough. Everybody's buying them, supply and demand. So you'd think that you'd be up. Now on the long-term chart, yeah, we are up. Call that a trend line, or are we breaking the trend line? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of trend lines anyways. That's just my 2 cents. I see what I call a leapfrog pattern on a lot of this, and I see that in the SPY. Are we going to break that leapfrog pattern? We keep, bouncing higher, but we're not bouncing higher all of a sudden. And so the money looks like it's betting against it. This is going to be Vonage Information ETF. Same thing here, getting smacked down. So all the things that had been darlings, not so much anymore. China getting crushed again. Getting really crushed here on China. And these are your large cap China ETF stocks. So, all right, I don't see any more questions coming in, although the numbers look okay here. Please fire away some questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start to wind this down. Pot stocks, also not so great. Not sure. I don't remember what caused that, but been a bleed ever since then on the pot stocks. Probably a saturated market, I'm guessing. I mean, everybody and their mother can grow pot now, and huge operations all over the place, and so on and so forth. So, not a lot of complication to that world. Sticking with your tomato plants or something. Um, Medical devices. This is another one that kind of surprises me. I would have think that this one's a little more bullish. However, we can see ugly as can be. My thoughts on uranium. It's one of those tough ones because where's my uranium? It was up here earlier today. This is uranium, right? URA? Yeah, there we go. So, you got one camp that thinks nuclear energy, saves the planet, another camp that hates it. Um, you know, there's the camp that thinks it's the way of the world winning, coming back down to the mean, excuse me. Um, my personal opinion on uranium, bullish. What is the chart telling me? Hang out and let's let it find a direction now after that big run up. That's what the chart tells me. I don't trade my opinion; I trade the charts. We're starting to round out here. All right. I would like to see us get back above 50. I said 50. Listen to me. 25. I think that's your level right there to really see some interest. And yes, I know you have this hanging out there, but I feel like if it gets back up to 25 coming off this base, it has some room to run back up to that 30 level as far as uranium goes. Uh, you know, you want to trade the ETF, so be it. There's plenty of, I won't say plenty, but there are uranium stocks out there to trade as well. I think, what is it, quadruple U? That's one of the darlings, right? Am I right? Yeah, uranium. So, and kind of funny how this chart went exactly with URA. So they trade in tandem for sure. And so that's how you're going to want to keep an eye on that. Um, can't think of another uranium stock off the top of my head right now, but that's my thoughts on uranium. Trade the chart. Again, my opinion is that you know they should be. My opinion's bullish. The chart tells me hang out for right now, but be ready. So if you're looking at uranium, maybe stick uranium, make a symbols list with uranium stocks on it, stick it on a list, stick it on your my liked, create a symbols list, so on and so forth. So you are welcome, Mr. Town. Appreciate the positive comments, appreciate the questions. uh, Again, it's hard for me to want to shut down the room when I see 17 people hanging in here. It's not a lot of people, but it's a lot of people to me, especially having just started this. So um, yeah, that's it. Exactly it. The longer term, I do believe it has room to go. I'm not willing to commit money to it right now, though. And that's that comes to trading my opinion and what's going on there. So and a lot of these things are all linked together. Your cues. I mean, that is not healthy looking on the cues. I don't keep a 200-day moving average. I don't really care for it, but let's just for fun indicators, right click chart indicators. 200-day moving average SMA. Let's throw a 200 period. Let's modify those colors. I don't know what color do we make this. I'm already using red. I'm using blue. I'm using green. I'm using black. Gee, I'm running out of bold colors here. Yellow you don't see well. I guess let's try orange here. I'll up or down. Let's make sure that that goes to orange too. Okay. Add. Did I add it? Yeah, there we go. So it's fighting with that black, but it actually looks kind of good like that. So let's close that. So if you ask, again, my opinion, Q's got a date with that 200. Ain't no question. There's nothing to block that. This was possibly we could call a level of interest right there. We're getting ready to pierce that as it is. I don't think that that support will hold. I think that the market wants it. I think that we want to come and shake hands on the 200 day, and then we'll see from there. You know, with the exception of COVID, been a long time since we've seen a bear market. Long, 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 long time since we've seen a bear market. You know, that's COVID there. You see, I got a bunch of lines that are drawn on here from God knows when. Um, let's make this a weekly chart instead. So time frame, right click. Let's get a weekly chart. There's your COVID. That's going to be December of 2018. All right. That's when the Fed said, oh, we're going to taper. I don't know what I can't even remember what they said. The Fed said something that the market didn't like. And then as soon as the market said it didn't like it, the Fed said, oh, we were just kidding. And we'll continue to buy whatever you tell us to buy. So carbon capture stocks, I didn't even know they existed, to be honest with you. Give me some tickers and I will. Oh, I'm sorry, town. My apologies. Um, so we'll go with Miss Town. Carbon capture stocks. You throw me one, and I'll take a look at a chart. You know, give you my like I said. I'm no CMT. I'm no expert. I just I like simple things on the chart. I try to keep the charts clean. That's why I don't have a 200-day moving average on there. It really doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect what I'm doing. But like I said, long time since we had a bear market. Long, long, long time. And yes, forever people are calling. We're due for it. We're due for it. Well, we'll be due for a long time. Thank you. I never want to, never looking to offend anybody or upset anybody. Um, to each everyone's own on everything in life. So yeah, if you Axmid, if you have a carbon capture stock or CEI, I'm sorry, you put one up there. My bad. I thought CEI was natural gas. No. Profile independent oil natural gas company engaged in acquisition, development, sale of crude oil and natural gas various products. Formation West Texas. Yeah, I don't know if that's carbon capture. I mean, unless they've done something that I don't know about. Bring this back to a daily chart because there's no point in that. What do I think of it? I think I like the fact that it held this 8 EMA, showing that it wants to hold momentum. Came and tested it, and while it sold off today wasn't exactly a bullish day overall for the market. Uh, isn't a sector that I would think would like it more. But you're also going to have the fact that it just got really wild. I mean, it was a sub-dollar stock at the beginning, a month ago. So to make a run from sub-dollars to just almost kissing $5, that makes it kind of tough. Now, one thing I can say for sure is you're not going to have to worry about bag holders too much in this sense here because unless people are taking, 10, 15, 30,000 share lots or something ridiculous like that. It's not like something that's a $30 stock that made a run up to 100 and now you've got to worry about bag holders up there distributing their shares. While there's obviously going to be some, I just think that's going to be overall the case that's here. Again, my opinion. You got these moving averages all kind of fanned out. Um, and so I'd say let this consolidate and see if it can move up or break down from there. You will have to contend with this here 300% short growth with already a 23.5% short float that our data vendors are reporting. All right. So now I know you can check 10 different sites and you're going to get 10 different numbers on this, but I like to go with our numbers. Generally speaking, I trust them. So, and when I say generally speaking, I trust them, what I mean by that is our data vendors are next core and fact set for these things. So, they're pretty reputable data vendors. And while, yes, there are times where things look off, um, generally speaking, we're right on par with everybody else. So that's where I would go with CEI. I know Dan just posted, what do we got? DEN. Not sure if I've ever looked at this one here, but let's take a bigger picture look. It looks like a healthy chart overall. Held up well in today's market nonsense, up almost 1%. Again, my biased eye sees this. That's what I'm seeing. So, yeah, you're welcome. So, that CEI, be careful with, just in the sense that it's made, I don't know, 5,000% run, well, now 3,000% run, or whatever it is, you know what I mean, in the last month. You know what I mean? That's a crazy amount to go up. Even though we're talking about a small price stock, percents matter. This is what I see on that. If we can kind of work consolidation and break out of it, I see a cup and handle forming. That's what I would like to see. But we need some more data here the next several days. That looks bullish to me though. Um, Overall, Denbury. It sounds so familiar, yet I don't know it. So that's my yes, I do know it. I was looking at the stock. Wow, I was looking at the stock quite a while ago. That's a huge run. Look at that run going back to a year ago. Go $20 stock to $80 in a year. God bless anybody that was holding that one. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. So, if you were to ask me, my personal opinion, bullish the carbon capture. And what the charts tell me, hang around because that bullish might be setting up right now. And that's what I see on that. So, all right, we're at 47 past the hour. I'm going to kick it. I'm going to wind it down here. I do appreciate everybody coming in, interactions and everything like that. And so anybody that's here, I'm doing this every single day right here, 3:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Trade Ideas Software, live Q&A. Come get your questions answered. Come see what we're about. This channel that you're in now opens every single day at 9 Eastern. Mr. Barry runs that from 9 Eastern till noon on the YouTube side. Noon, he passes it off to a different trader every day for 1 hour Q&A. And then he shuts down at 3 o'clock. We let the channel rest for half an hour from 3 to 3:30. And at 3:30, I pick back up. And like I said, I run 3:30 to 4:30. If there's people around to keep me engaged, I don't have anything personal going on. I don't have to run away from the desk. I'll stick around for that time. However, we're 18 past my deadline and I'm going to end the broadcast now. So again, I appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you very much. Please come back, say hi tomorrow, bookmark this. Like I said, we do this 5 days a week. And the more people we get in here, the longer I'll stick around, the more topics we can cover, and we learn and grow together, everybody. All right. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And you have a wonderful rest of your Monday evening. Bye bye.